All right. Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Stepmama Hangout podcast. Unfortunately, it is just me doing this solo today. That's okay. I do hope that in the future we can get some guest speakers on here. I was gonna have some of the mods from the Stepmama After Dark group come and help me with this, but unfortunately, due to time zones and schedule conflictions, nobody's available at the same time as me. So yeah, in the future, look out for any opportunities for co-hosting. That'd be great. So be patient with me while I read you these stories and reflect on them. And yeah, some of these stories might make you mad. Some of these stories might make you sad. I got a lot of submissions for this one. The topic of this podcast is parental alienation. So, right off the bat, we're going to start with the textbook definition of this. Parental alienation is a form of emotional abuse where one parent manipulates a child to reject, fear, or avoid the other parent. This usually happens during or after a divorce or separation, with the alienated parent using negative tactics and false narratives to turn the child against the target parent. I'm sure in our step parenting journey, we have all had this happen at least once to us. So I do actually also have some step parent alienation stories in here as well, which I think is super important because, like, it happens to all of us at least once where we feel alienated in our own home. So yeah, so the trigger warnings today is going to be there is a few stories with abuse and, of course, alienation. That's about it. Nothing too crazy. This topic for me doesn't really hit close to home, but I know it will for tons and tons and tons of other people. So yeah, we're gonna start off with the first story, a submission from a follower. My husband's high conflict baby mama, because we move closer to the kids, because the children enjoy being in our home where they are talked to and not hit. Mainly, I don't believe in disciplinary action that requires hitting a child, but also because the BM states she doesn't want me disciplining them in that way. The one thing we agree on, the children began protesting their stay with her, so she, before court papers could be processed, requesting 50-50 custody, abducted them and moved to a different state. Now tries to poison their minds with their dad, left them for me, and he doesn't love them, or he would see them, all the while keeping him from finding her. We have hired a PI to track her down so that she can be served court papers. Wow. And there's a lot of stories just like this one that we're gonna go over. I find this one interesting because they said they hired a PI, so I would really love part two of this. Like, did your PI find them? Has she been served yet? And I'm sorry this is happening to you and to you and your husband. Um, yeah, that's pretty illegal, I think. So, yeah, this is a pretty textbook parental alienation case, unfortunately. I really do want to know what part two is. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, you can let me know if you guys found her so I could give an update in the future. Okay, moving on to the second story. My significant other was told by the court to not pay child support as he had overpaid a high conflict baby mama the year prior. She was so bitter about it that one instance at drop off, she was wearing coveralls. My 4-year-old stepdaughter asked her mom why she was in coveralls. The baby mama said, "Mommy has to go back to work." Stepdaughter started crying and stated she wanted to see mommy because she hadn't seen her in a week. Baby mama's response was, "Blame your dad. He's not giving mommy any money now, so I can't spend time with you because of him." This all occurred in front of my significant other while he stood there. Clear instance of alienation and completely disgusting on high conflict baby mama's part. Yeah, I can agree with that. That's pretty fucking terrible. Do these women not realize that they also have to work? Like, it's not just up to the man. Um, like, we all know, like, stay-at-home moms usually stay at home when their husband, who's in a relationship, who lives in the same home, is working and they're not. You can't just be single and be not working. People like that probably shouldn't even have their kids. This just makes me think like, oh, she just thinks she can hang out with her kid all day and do nothing while the baby daddy pays for it all. It's just given entitled. It's given entitled, and you're right. It is given alienation because you're trying to make your daughter hate her father over financials. And this is a lot of thing too. Is like it all turns down to like discussing financial battles. So discussing financial battles, like it's terrible. It's definitely adult talk. It's not children talk. And I'm so sorry you guys are going through this. Um, but at that point, my advice is husband needs to straighten up and tell her that that's not going to slide. She can't be talking like that in front of their kid when he's present, at least. Like, he can't control what goes on in their home, obviously. But yeah, he needs to fight back on that one a little bit, I would say. All right. Um, this is a very short one, but a very typical one. My husband's ex girlfriend kept his daughter away from him for 3 years. And in that 3 years, she allowed his daughter to call her boyfriend dad. Um, yeah, it's really sad. And I'm really sorry your husband hasn't seen his kid in 3 years. That's literally so terrible. Um, Obviously, I feel like there's a longer story to this. Why didn't your husband find her in the 3 years that he was gone? Was there no like court involved? Was there no police involved? That's because like that's literally child kidnapping from this excerpt that I got. Like, so there is a really bigger story here. So I don't want to touch on this too much. I don't want to give my full opinion. Obviously, there's a bigger story. However, we do see cases like this all the time where she allowed to call her the boyfriend dad, and that's so terrible. And I feel really sorry for your husband, and I hope he's starting to heal from this. However, yeah, like I said, there's definitely a larger story here, so I don't want to give too much of my opinion on that. All right, so we're going on to the next story. I don't mind you saying who I am. So it's Danny. Danny is our creator and admin of the Stepmama After Dark group. But here she goes. But when my husband and I first met, his exes knew about me before I knew about them. They knew about me before we even began a relationship together. Well, they would stalk his social media. Once they seen my name, they'd message him and start harassing him, asking who I was, telling him I've never seen her on your page before, etc. For the first 3 months of our relationship, his exes refused to let him see his kids at all. That truly was just the beginning, and the drama never stopped. That's so terrible. Like, again, this whole story is just giving jealousy. Like, in what world do you think it's okay to keep your child away from their parent just because they have a new partner that obviously you haven't even met, you haven't gotten to know, etc. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Um, so sorry that happened. I totally know that that's not the case anymore for her. Her husband and her are both involved in their stepchildren slash children's lives. So I'm glad that is better. However, so gross that that even happened in the first place. Yeah, that sucks. All right, moving on to the next story. The past year or so, I've been battling the feeling of alienation because my stepkids will always go and ask dad for everything, even if I'm around and he's working in the bedroom. It's like I'm invisible. I only get asked, "What's for dinner?" or "Where's my something?" I am a part of this family too, and I deserve to be seen as a person, not as a nanny. So, this is what I was talking about when it comes to, step parent alienation in their own home, which is something, like I said, that we've all dealt with at least once or twice. I know I have. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks because these kids are so attached to their biological parent, and like they should be, but also like, you live in their home too. Like I know for me, for example, I've been in a home with my husband since my stepchild was like a year and a half. Like we've been together since she was like a year, and then like we bought a house when she was about 2. So even now she's older now, and like she still will just like ignore me to ask for stuff and like go to my husband, even if he's in the bathroom or he's in the closet changing and stuff. I'm just like, okay. She never acts like that when, he's at work or something like that. But the second he's home, it's like, see ya. And, she's still young, so it's like I can't even like blame her. But so I don't know how old the stepchildren are in your story. It says that you have two of them. I don't know their ages, so I can't really comment on that. I don't know if they're still too young to even like think about what they're doing or if they're doing it on purpose. But yeah, that also comes down to the fact that you need to also talk to your husband and tell him how you're feeling and come up with plans for him to back you up in those instances. Like I did that with my husband, and we came up with like plans if because like your husband needs to be encouraging the communication between you and your stepchildren, or else it's never gonna happen. Point blank. Period. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that story. Um, it sucks. I relate to it, and I'm sure a ton of other people do as well. But yeah, it comes down to you guys having to put boundaries in your home, put boundaries in your relationship with the children. That's a huge thing that comes with being a step parent that I have learned, and I'm sure many of you guys have too, is boundaries, 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 boundaries. Like, it's okay to say no, and it's okay to not want to be a nanny. That's literally not your job. It's not your children at the end of the day. Even if you are a full time step parent, like, it's nice to get the respect you deserve. Okay. So those were more of like the juicier stories that I had that were like not super super long. Because I don't want to sit here and talk like I had a lot of submissions that were like super super long. I was like, I don't want to spend 20 minutes talking just about a story. Um, Regardless, I super appreciated everybody that like sent in a story. But yeah, we'll go for another shorter one that I have here. My step babies are used as pawns against their dad. She has allowed the kids to call their dad and cuss him out like it's okay. The kids are 12 and 7. She has told the 12-year-old that he is to not talk to his dad about anything. This includes anything with school, friends, where they go, etc. So this is another one where I'm like, what's the bigger story here? Because does dad have a court order? Is it 50-50 custody? Is dad just a spring break, summer break parent? Like, it's really, really hard to get the feel for these kind of stories when there's no background information. So I think that, like, if you guys are submitting stories in the future, it's important for you guys to put a little bit of that detail in so that I can comment on that. Regardless, the story is terrible. It's not okay. Who encourages their children to call any adult, and especially their father, and swear at them? What? That's crazy. I think your husband needs to take her back to court. Record the phone calls, document this all, and take her ass back to court. Yeah, but this is obviously clear cut parental alienation at the end of the day, regardless of the backstory. And I'm sorry that you and your husband are going through that because I'm sure that hurts your husband's feelings. We have a military one here. Our high conflict baby mama kept stepdaughter 9 away for almost 4 years due to her leaving and filing for divorce while my husband was deployed, and then moved her 13 hours away. She got full custody because she lied, and we just recently found out that stepdad has been abusing stepdaughter 9, but the court doesn't think it's bad enough to remove her from the home due to the distance. This sounds super terrible, and I'm so sorry. Again, this is another one where I'm like, what's the bigger story? I don't know the bigger story. What did she lie about? How did you guys find the proof of stepdaughter 9 being abused? And yeah. So again, this is another one where it's really hard for me to comment on because I don't know the full story. I don't have all the details. But regardless, it sounds terrible, and I'm really sorry you're going through that. And I'm sure there's people out here that are relating to all these stories and being like, yep, that's me. Yep, that's us. So at the end of the day, that's also what's important. Okay, let's try to find another one. Um, da, 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 da. She refuses to allow us to talk to the kids at all for 14 days that they are there, but demands we drop everything for her to talk to the kids whenever she wants. She has even taken away the emergency phone that the kids need for when she's too drunk to take them to school, and takes away stepson's phone so he can't even say goodnight. She also gets super mad when they talk to their dad and I in public or try to hug us. Mediation is a joke because she won't follow what's set out anyways. This one's like really hard because like the petty in me wants to say, okay, do back what she's doing to you, twice fold. But we all know that it's way harder for the father to do that because it always looks 10 times worse than it does for the mother. My only advice for this story would be when she demands you drop everything for her to talk on the phone, don't. Just stop. Lay out boundaries for her. Like, no, we're busy. And they can call you from this time to this time, or else you don't get a phone call at all. Period. That would be my only advice. The emergency phone, we've all seen stories about this. If it's your guys' phone that you guys are paying for, you unfortunately might have to just keep it at your guys' place. I understand that there's like alcoholism going on in the home, and that's really unfortunate. I don't have any advice for that, so I'm sorry. But yeah, and I don't even know what the age of your stepchild is, so I can't even comment on that either because you didn't say anything. Yeah, that's all the advice I have for that one. Yeah, there's so many like really long ones, and I feel terrible, but unfortunately, when it's just me doing these, like, just talking to myself, I don't want to read, like, the whole thing because it's like my reading comprehension is just going to go down. So, publicly, I am going to say this one because I got this one as a response. Someone had asked me to call them for a crazy story. I've got documents and all, and it's too much to text, and then she leaves her phone number. Everyone tells me my life should be a Lifetime movie because of what happened. Unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable calling you guys. Like I bet that your story is crazy and like I wish I could hear it, but what I would do is I would record it on a recording service and then message me the recording so that I can listen to it. But yeah, I don't feel comfortable calling you guys or texting you guys via your in real life number. But yeah, if you get a chance to like record it and then text it to me, that'd be super, super wonderful. And I would love to hear it. Okay. So, here's this one. Currently, my man is being alienated from his children 3 and 4. That's a tiny age gap. He had visitation up until I came into the picture. She absolutely hates me and harasses me along with her friends. We're currently going to custody for these amazing babies. I will say my boyfriend does have a past of violence and alcohol abuse. However, he is stable, on meds, and almost 7 months clean. Congratulations. High conflict baby mom will not let him have any contact with them. She won't even let his family see him. She goes to the bar and her parents have her children most of the time. She has been harassing me for a year and still doing so. Damn, that's terrible. I'm glad that you told me like the backstory a little bit. You were like, my boyfriend does have a history of this. However, like obviously he's put in the work and he's doing so much better. Thank you for that. Congratulations to him. I hope he continues in his sobriety. However, in this case, your boyfriend's got to take her to court. Yeah, take her to court because if she's not doing anything of this, then nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. You are allowing the behavior to continue to go on unless you take these women to court. Unless you legally get it in writing, this behavior will continue. I see it all the time online. These people are like, they complain about XYZ, XYZ, and everybody in the comments is like, well, do you guys have a court order? And they're like, no. And yeah, the behavior will continue because you tolerate it. It's unfortunate, and that's definitely what your boyfriend's got to do. And here's another thing: you can't even force your boyfriend to do it either. But that's what I would do. That's the advice I give this story. And that's the advice you should probably bring to your boyfriend is he needs to take her to court. And I understand that it's probably going to be a bit hard due to his history. But there's ways that lawyers can mitigate that. So I would at least consult with a lawyer. But good luck. I hope it turns out better for you guys. And I'm so sorry she's harassing you. If she's harassing you via social media, my advice is always to block. People like that crave a reaction. So don't give them the reaction they want. Block them. If it's in person, I'm so sorry. This really sucks. Call the police. Document it. It'll help you guys in your court case. Yeah. So that's that story. I have so many long stories. I feel so bad. I already read that one. Okay. I'll read more of a bigger one, a little chunkier one, if you will, and then I will probably wrap it up after this one because we are almost hitting the 30-minute mark, and it sucks talking to myself by myself. So one more time, if you guys want to co-host, message me. I would love to have you guys come and record with me. Yeah, only, but my thing is, guys, only come and want to record with me if you guys have a working mic via your computer, because sound quality is just so important. I don't want you guys like talking through your phone. Just because I don't want people to not hear you guys over the programs that we use to make this podcast. But yeah, please do it if you guys have a working mic. Okay. So here's a little chunkier one, and it'll be our last one. My husband and I had a friend move in with her boyfriend, and they rented the toy room. We switched the toys to a different room when they moved in. Step kids come every weekend at this time. This was 3 years ago, by the way. All the kids got along with said friend and her boyfriend. Then one weekend, when the kids were supposed to come, high conflict baby mama texted my husband that the kids didn't want to come. Said that their son hates me and wishes that the friend didn't move in. So we ended up kicking out the friend and her boyfriend, and they left 2 weeks later. Then we finally get the kids for a weekend, and stepson goes down to the toy room that was rented out, and then comes upstairs upset that they moved out. The kids would play ding dong ditch, but obviously just knock on their door and ditch. And then the stepson tells us he misses them, and the reason he didn't want to come over 3 weekends ago was because his mother planned a weekend of friends coming over for a sleepover for the kids. Baby mama also said she had a video of stepson crying and freaking out that weekend if they didn't come. Here we are 3 years later, and we still haven't seen said video. Yeah, so I did read this one a few days ago. My thing is, why are we listening to children? Why are we letting children run our home? Let me rephrase that. You should listen to your children, but why are we letting children run our home? I feel so bad for your friends who let children dictate their living situation. Yeah, that really sucks. So it sounds like to me that you guys just like panicked and immediately believed what the baby mama said and kicked out your friends. I really hope there's no bad blood between you and your friends, because like I would have a little bit of a grudge if I were them. Um, yeah, I was just my here's my advice, and I'll be honest. Um, let's stop letting our children dictate our homes and decisions. For things like this, obviously, we should always give children a voice to be heard. That doesn't mean we have to listen to them and follow what they want, right? Um, but yeah, it sounds like baby mama just lied and used this as a tool of control. And you guys let her. You guys let her walk over you. Um, but I think you guys have obviously learned your lesson from this. And I hope that you guys have placed boundaries with this biological mother so that things like this don't happen again. Cheers. Yeah. Um, that's kind of a touchy subject, so I don't want to talk too much on that one. But yeah, thank you guys so much for sending in all these submissions. I had a ton to look through. Like I said, there were some super, super big ones that were just really extremely long, and I probably would have lost my voice talking about them. Um, at the end of the day, thank you. I look at all of them, I read all of them. I just might not read them out loud to you guys all the time. I'm hoping that if I get another person on to co-host with me, I'll be able to read some of those like longer stories. I will be changing the subject for the next episode. I think parental alienation was kind of hard to talk about because it's not as juicy subject. It's more like a sad subject. It's like, oh, it really sucks to get parental alienated, and it's terrible, and it's just like sad. But we have a lot of episodes planned for different topics. I will be posting this video up obviously this week. And then next week I hope to have the next subject out, and you guys can submit more stories under that subject. But yeah, that's all I have to talk about. Thank you so much for coming in and listening to us for 30 minutes. And by us, I mean me and my 15 other personalities, because I don't have a co host. um, yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I hope everybody's Easter was wonderful. Mine was. Cheers. Have a wonderful rest of your week.